Hi, my name is Kim Gameroz, social emotional learning expert, and I'm here celebrating SELtember with Miniland and all of you. Today, it's our final and fourth webcast, and we're talking about supporting families at home, continuing the work into the community. So social emotional learning this week, we're talking about how to effectively connect the strategies that we're using in the classroom with our families at home. And we're going to be talking about newsletters, videos, virtual and in-person family nights, school-wide book clubs and classroom meetups, and your next steps. Social emotional learning at home. Why should we do it? Well, as an educator, if you are spending so much time focusing on the social and emotional learning of your students, you're going to want to make sure that it transfers from environment to environment. And they're spending the rest of their time at home, right? They're out on the playground, they're spending time in their sports, and then they come home and they're with their families. We want to empower those families and give them strategies that we're using in the classroom at home as well. It's going to bridge that gap between those home and those school skills. One way to do it is through newsletters. So Instagram is one of my favorite ways to push out information to families. You can create a private Instagram account for a grade level or for your classroom even, where you can post pictures of all those things that are inside your classroom. Let's say that you do a feelings check-in. You can post a video or a picture of that check-in. Maybe your students are using that Google form. You can show parents what that looks like and what that sounds like in the classroom. You can even take pictures. Let's say you have a comm space in your classroom. You could take pictures of students inside the comm space or the things that are inside the comm space with little tips and tricks that parents can use at home. If you want to be more formal, of course, you can push out an email or a newsletter. Flowdesk and S'more are two fancy ways that you can send out newsletters to families. It makes them pretty, and families are more in tune and inclined to tap on that newsletter if it is pretty. But of course, you can send out an email as well. These emails can go out weekly or monthly. And I suggest that you teach those families the system that you're working on. Let's say that you're focusing on that feelings check-in as a system every single morning, and then also before students leave. You've brought that in, let's say it's the month of September, and you want families to feel like they can do that feelings check-in at home as well. You're going to tell those families what it looks like and sounds like in the classroom, and then you're going to give them tips on what it can look like and sound like at home as well. Because families can be doing a feelings check-in. They can do it before bedtime and ask their child how they're feeling. They can ask their child what strategies they can use to support themselves. And now we're bridging that gap again from school and home. Videos are another great way that you can teach families about those systems that you're using in the classroom. iMovie is amazing. So when I've been teaching students how to create a movie in iMovie, I just tell them I want 4 shots, 4 10-second short little videos that are different angles to show the different ways that we can teach this system. So let's say we're talking about a calm space. I'm going to have my students, go ahead and get a close-up shot of our calm space. They're going to hold that screen for 10 seconds, right? Super close. And they're going to go through that calm space. Then after 10 seconds, they're going to cut it. Then I want them to take maybe an over-the-shoulder shot. They're going to have one student sit in the calm space, and for 10 seconds, they're going to record over the shoulder of the child, maybe manipulating some of their tools and strategies within that calm space. And then after 10 seconds, they cut it off. Then they're going to choose 2 more different shots to do the same thing. Now in iMovie, when you plop them back into iMovie, all you need to do is tap, and then you can mute the sound. And then once you do that, you could have your students record their voices over the video. So I would have my students describe what the calm space is, what's inside the calm space, what their favorite strategy or tool is, and how it helps support them. The end. Then I would share those videos either through Seesaw or another app, or they could email their parents at home. This is a great way to have students explain in their own words to their families what's going on in the classroom, how it supports them, and how they can use it at home as well. Family nights. Now, family nights are incredible. You can connect to all the families within your entire district and showcase what you guys are doing as teachers on your campus. So you need to decide who's going to lead these family nights. Do you have a group of social emotional learning champions? Sometimes at a specific school site, there are teachers that have taken on this responsibility and push out information to their peers. You could also have an individual teacher, a passionate teacher, or a counselor lead these family nights. Or let's say you've been doing this for a while and you're ready to have your students take on student leadership. And maybe they are going to be teaching the adults about what's going on in their classrooms and how they can use it at home as well. Now, hands-on rotations are an incredible way to get the families interactive and involved in the learning that they're doing. So let's say you're in person and you're in a multi-purpose room or a big space outside, and you have families rotate from one area to the next, and maybe they create something like a make and take. Maybe at one station, they're with their child and there's all these materials where they can create a feelings journal. Maybe you have different images and students are cutting them out and putting them on top of the journal, and they're ready to take it home and use it right away. Or maybe they rotate to the next little rotation and they're creating a mindfulness jar where there's glitter and jars and everything that they need. And there is a leader walking them through all of those steps. And again, they get to take it home with them and use it right away. Let's say that now we're in a virtual family night. Students can help set up all of these little jars and glitter and everything that they would need to create their own at home, put it in a bag, and then they're going to take that home with them. And now you log in through Zoom, and with your family, you have all of the materials in your home, and you have your teacher leader or your student leaders or your counselor or whoever is in charge of the Zoom session walk the family and the child through how to create their own right there in their home. Family nights are an incredible way to make those connections to that school and home life and continue to bridge, again, that gap of the learning that they're using at school into home. All right, let's talk about using the systems at home more. So that calm space. If you have a calm space in your classroom, we're going to teach families how to use that calm space at home effectively. Feelings journal as well. If we have feelings journals in the classroom, we want those feelings journals to be used at home as well. And feelings journals don't have to just be for the child. They can also go back and forth between an adult at home and the child. Perhaps that child feels safe writing down how they're feeling inside the journal, and they love sharing it with a parent. And then the parent can read it and respond back to the child and put it in a safe place where they can share back and forth. Those are systems that, again, you can use in the classroom and then also transfer to home life. So my favorite Miniland products, that memo game, we've talked about it before. I love it because we're really teaching our families how to talk through those social stories. And again, we put up all of the covers on top, and it is that matching game of the social stories, that what is happening, right? It's making people feel uncomfortable. And then what is that solution that now we're having comfortable thoughts and everyone is cooperating and sharing and learning and growing together, okay? Now, talking as a family through these social situations and these stories, now we're gonna go from environment to environment with our kids, and we're going to be successful because of the learning that has happened at home and also at school. The emotions buddy is great too. I love it because, again, we have all of those eyes and mouths inside of the backpack, and we can take them out and match how we're feeling. Now, if I have a child at home who's feeling sad, right? Maybe they're not able to come up with those feelings or the words to describe their feelings, but if they're able to put the eyes that match and the mouth that matches and set it down, now as a parent, I can have a conversation with my child about the reasons why they're feeling upset. I also love the dolls. So It's really important now, more than ever, that we are able to identify, right? Someone that looks and that feels like us, right? And so these dolls are inclusive to all. And I love, I got a story from a mother and a teacher friend of mine who said she has a child who received one of these dolls, and her child was thrilled that now all of a sudden she has a doll that looks just like her. Um, these dolls are absolutely incredible to have at home. And of course, the conversations that a parent is having with the child, to talk about how they're feeling through the dolls, even, that's also incredible too, and very powerful. Your emoji blocks are great too, as well. We're going to want to show again how we're feeling. And again, our children, especially our little ones, they are going to have a tough time. It's tricky for them to figure out how they're feeling, but through the blocks, we're able to foster those conversations about how you're feeling, why your face is looking that way, and have those conversations about what we can do to support ourselves. Okay, let's make the most out of picture books. So let's say we've taught our families about these systems that they can use at home, and they're running great, but we need even more support. Well, picture books are a great way to do that. Let's say that we're talking about those emotional check-ins, and we can tell our parents and our families that we are using Robbie's Roar. We've read it as a class, and it's one of our favorite picture books that we're using. And now we can talk about that social emotional chain reaction. So I would say to the families, and you can record this and push this out. You can put it in your newsletter. You can link the book, whatever book that you want to use, it's your favorite. And I would explain when Robbie feels really upset and his face gets bright red and maybe he screams, the people around him feel uncomfortable and they might give him a weird look and they might not want to talk to him. And in fact, they might not want to be with him. And if they don't want to be with him, he might feel alone. He might feel sad, just like the pictures, okay? And so we can have these meetups, these virtual meetups through picture books with our families. So let me tell you how that goes. Let's say we've pushed out this book, a link in a newsletter or in a video, even through Instagram. And now I want to meet with the families in my class. You can hold a Zoom session or an in-person meetup, and we can talk about the story that we've been reading, and we can have these conversations about that social emotional chain reaction, right? How our thoughts and our feelings and our behavior affect the thoughts and feelings and behavior in other people, which affects how they treat us, and that affects how we feel about ourselves. Okay, we can reach out to authors and have authors come and show up on our Zoom sessions. And it's a great way to have connections to all of the families in our class as a teacher, but also that those families can connect to each other, right? Now, all of a sudden, if one family hasn't talked about their feelings yet, or they don't have a feelings journal, or they don't have a calm space or that system yet, now all of a sudden, families are sharing ideas that are happening in their homes with each other. And that is so powerful. We want to make it school-wide. So if you are using picture books, right? Let's say you're choosing one a month as a school. Now we can enlarge the pages, let's say, of Robbie's Roar. We can make these pages huge and we can put them all down the hallway of our school. Maybe we even have it outside of the pickup line so that families can see these pages as well. In class, we're reading Robbie's Roar. We're talking about the strategies that we can use to support ourselves. And now it's a visual all around our campus, and our families can also see that visual as well. Okay, let's talk about your next steps. So creating a social emotional learning website for families to access anytime is a game changer. If you have video support, that's great too. So parents are able to click and see and hear somebody talking them through strategies that they can use to support their students at home, whether it be worry or anxiety or anger or defiance, right? Sadness. All of these things are important for teachers to equip themselves in the classroom, but whatever we're doing in the classroom, we want parents to be doing at home too. You might even link those picture book ideas and to YouTube or to Amazon so that those families can purchase or watch them alongside their child. And all of your suggestions that you're putting onto that website should align with those strategies and systems like that calm space or feelings journal or check-in that you're implementing in the classroom. Some things to think about. What systems and strategies do we want to teach the families in our community? That's key. What does it look like and sound like in the classroom and then also at home? What picture books do we want to use to support all of this work? Do we have the money to purchase copies of these books to send home with all of our students? Should we write a grant to do that? Should we use YouTube links? Do we need them in another language? And how many book club nights do we want to host? How are we getting this information out? Thank you so much for spending time with me today. To stay up to date with social emotional learning in Miniland, follow them on Instagram, and I look forward to seeing you soon.